Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, Luton 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Lot to digest. What did you make of that?
Well, let's start with the performance. First half, well, I mean, I can go into the second half as well, really, but first half Wolves were absolutely atrocious, weren't they?
Battered, they were, weren't they?
Completely battered. Changing shape, starting with a 4, moving into a 5, Neto on the wing back, then it was Hwang, and no one really knew what was going on. The players didn't understand the roles, responsibilities. The right changes at half time with Doherty and Totti on, albeit people can see it as being negative, but Wolves were down to 10 men at that point. It was 0-0, and the system wasn't working with the players on the pitch. So the changes made sense, but how Totti Gomes hasn't started that game in the first place is, if you're going to play that system and switch so quickly, it baffles me, it really does.
I mean, they looked all at sea with the changes that were happening in game, didn't they? I mean, it was a little bit embarrassing at times.
No, it was. I mean, Wolves were completely...
Neto to start with, moved to right wing back, then moved across to Hwang, and then he didn't know what was going on. They had to get a message round from a coach halfway through the game. I mean,
and Bellegarde was playing on the sort of right of the 3, but he was then coming very central at times, and Hwang wasn't quite sure of his responsibilities and was drifting forward, then drifting back in again. It was confusion, it was all convoluted. It was all very confused.
And this is why Luton were doing everything but score, really.
Yeah, they were overlapping wing backs, getting crosses in. Carlton Morris was a handful up top. They were causing all sorts of problems. And when you do that, you have to take your chances, and that's really where Luton fell short.
Let's go to the sending off then. The first big talking point, I guess, of the day. Bellegarde. What did you make of it?
Unfortunately, it's a red card. Look, it's not a heavy kick out. It's not vicious or violent, albeit it'll be violent conduct. But it's naive. Lockyer has done exactly what a professional of his age and his experience and being around the game, the kind of thing that those kind of professionals will do. In the modern game, you overreact, you act a bit of an idiot, you roll around on the floor a little bit, and also the fact that he had the leg lock in the first place, just to stop Bellegarde getting up and joining the attack.
I mean, if he gets away from that, it's seen, it's probably a booking for Lockyer.
No, exactly. It's poor from him in the sense that it should be a booking, but it's a wily, he's a wily old fox there. He's clever. He knows what he's doing.
He's inciting something. He wants something to happen.
He's goaded Bellegarde into something, and he's taken the bait. The first opportunity to take the bait, and you do that, you're going to get a red card. Now the referee hasn't seen it. Someone's probably, a linesman's probably said something to him to indicate the red card in the first place. And once that happens, VAR was never going to overturn it. Had it been the other way around and he hadn't given it, VAR probably wouldn't have told him to give a red card either. It was just one of those situations where Bellegarde was naive and shouldn't have taken the bait, really.
And look, he'll learn. I think Joao Gomes on his first Liverpool start he took the bait as well and got a three game ban pretty quickly. So he'll learn very quickly. Frustrating because he's been so good in the short time that we've seen him, and unfortunately a 3 game ban now. Yeah,
luckily one of those games will be Ipswich, so it doesn't make it that much better, but it makes it slightly better that it's only 2 Premier League games. But regardless, having lost him now for City and Villa at home coming up next in the league, it's a massive blow. And from he even started this half actually decent in comparison to the rest of the team, really. And it was just a moment of madness, really. He, as I say, the best way I can phrase it is the bait was there, he took it, and Lockyer gets away for acting a bit of a prat, but he gets the player sent off.
So you look at the second half and you think, goodness me, this is going to, if they can get a draw out of this, they've done really, really well. 2 changes, Totti on, Doc on, and Pedro Neto, after Joao Gomes releases him, scores, well, the pace that he showed to even get into that position, to get that ball, and then the finish. This is someone who is bubbling below probably his very best at Wolves. I thought this was peak Pedro Neto today. It was a world-class performance in an average game, and he took his goal superbly well in front of the Wolves fans, and that's the moment of quality you need when you are struggling in front of goal. Wolves have had 10, 15, 20 shots in games and not scored. Well, this was 1 shot, 1 goal, and that's what we need. Someone as clinical and as good as that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the edge, isn't it? Wolves are missing a bit of that, and Neto right now has got it.
Ruthless aggression.
Absolutely. Joao Gomes did brilliantly to win the ball, intercept it in midfield, drive forward, play probably a fairly ambitious pass actually, because albeit the angle on the pass and the weight of the pass was decent, it was a little bit ahead of Neto. And Lockyer, he's not the quickest, and Neto luckily is. So
I felt sorry for him falling flat on his face. I
know, real shame.
Yeah, bit mouth of turf.
Neto, burst past him, win the ball, cuts inside in the box, roof of the net. Celebration was brilliant. Wolves fans go mental. It's a great moment for him, great moment for the club, great moment for Wolves, the fans. Brilliant goal. And then, as we're about to come on to, it turns on its head, doesn't it?
And then it's back to the wall. You know that Luton are going to come again. Of course, it's 11 versus 10. And I thought some of the defensive performances out there actually were pretty strong. And then you get one of the most, well, I say one of the most because we're here again, Liam, with VAR. We were at Old Trafford for Onana and that diabolical decision against Kalajic, and then we've got one almost as bad. Actually, no, I'm going to say worse than that today.
It is worse than
Absolutely
that.
Pathetic decision. every single person in this ground who had a camera, who were close, who were watching the game, could see it's gone off Joao Gomes' knee, it's gone straight onto his hand, off his foot, straight onto his fan, a huge deflection. Everyone knows it, everyone sees it, we all know it's going to be overturned, and of course the people who make the decisions have absolutely balls it up yet again, and it's cost Wolves.
And we're in a position again where I'm sat here, or stood here rather, talking to you, and I cannot explain why. And I'll tell you what's even more damning. For whatever you think of Mike Dean as an official, obviously in his past, he's on Sky Sports today, and he cannot give a reason why that hasn't been overturned. He says he's astounded is the word he uses. I think it's absolutely awful. I mean, you look at the guidelines, everything that we're being told is that any kind of ricochet off the body and before hitting the arm isn't a penalty. We've definitely seen one this season, I forget where it is, but we've definitely seen one that wasn't given for that exact same reason, and it's quite clearly it's a low cross, bounces off his foot up into the air, hits his hand, which is here. If it hits his hand first and his hand's here, it's probably a penalty. Whether you like that or not with the rules, it probably is. It doesn't hit his foot first. Clearly, a massive ricochet up. It's never a penalty in any era of football, and it's never a penalty. I don't understand.
You know, just walking out there with the fans and interviewing some of them, and they're all on the mobile phones, and everybody's looking at the rules of the game. That's clear.
It's black and white.
Black and white in front of you.
Unless we're missing something, but I can't see what we're missing. I really can't.
The referees are coming out. You know, Gary Lineker's already come out and called it. We're going to get all these replays and highlights over the weekend. Everybody's going to say, what a disgraceful decision. We're probably going to get the referees and VAR demoted next weekend. Well, no one gives a flying F, Liam. Yeah. I don't. I really don't, because it's cost Wolves, however bad they were in the first half, it's cost them 2 points today.
They didn't deserve to win that game.
No, they didn't deserve to win the game.
That doesn't matter.
But look, Wolves will play very well and not win games as well. So these are the games when you go 1-0 and you've been done by a disgraceful decision. I'm sorry, just get rid of it. You can't do it. You can't enforce it. So get rid of it. It's pathetic. And these guys need to be putting up in front of a panel, and they need to explain the decision, and we should all be able to see it. They should have microphones on to say exactly what happened, just to name and shame, because this is pathetic. And these are getting paid 100, 200, 300,000 pounds a year to make these decisions. It's so amateur. It's disgusting, really.
100%. And how many times we've been here? Completely agree with you. This is worse than the Onana one, because this one is, albeit that one was subjected to an extent, but quite clearly a penalty. This one is not even subjective. This is the rules of the game as we're being told it, and they've not been enforced. I don't actually really put a lot of blame on the referee, because it's quick, it's in real time. I don't think he's got a great view of it. I think a referee shouldn't be giving that, but I can understand why. How VAR looks at that, they look at it for 2-3 minutes. It's not a quick decision.
We could all see it. We had a terrible screen and everybody could see it.
It's not a quick decision. They don't go straight away in penalty. They take their time.
It's like 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Exactly, and they still don't overturn it. I think it's a truly incredible decision. As soon as I saw it up there, I mean the views we had weren't great, the replays we had weren't great, but I saw it real time. I said to you, and Mike Bagley sat next to me, he said that's not a penalty. Saw it on the screen, I went straight, well, they'll overturn that. I sat back in my chair.
We were relieved, weren't we?
I sat back in my chair. I went, they'll overturn that. It's clearly come his foot, hit his arm, no chance.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't describe or give any reason why it makes no sense.
But I mean, look, Wolves played very well, I thought, with 10 men, and they made some defensive substitutions, and they worked today for Gary O'Neill. But this cannot cloud over the fact that 11 versus 11, there's only one side in this game. When we go to Luton today, we thought worst case scenario they come away with a draw, and with 10 men or whatever, but at the same time there are still a lot of worrying things that happen on this pitch today, and they've got Luton, they've got their first point of the season, and Wolves have now got Manchester City in the league.
I think we'd be silly to stand here and say
they didn't deserve to win the game.
It's not all based on this. Of course, they've got 3 points had it not been for that. But if you're looking at the balance on the game, the way Wolves played, they were outfought. I thought outclassed quality-wise as well, which I shouldn't really be stood here saying. And they were outcoached today. Gary O'Neill got it wrong with his starting 11. I think he got it right with some of the changes from half-time onwards. But I don't think he got it right from the start. And then the changes mid-game as well did not work in that first half. It's a disappointing day really for Wolves, because yes, they come away with a point, and it could be a lot worse. But you look at that performance and you think that is nowhere near good enough. It's really not. And you're relying on someone like Pedro Neto to drag Wolves through it at the moment. He was excellent. I thought Kilman was very good, to his credit. I thought Lamina had a fairly good game, albeit absolutely out on his feet at the end. But how many times have we said that this season? That needs to be fixed. Joao Gomes did okay. Obviously the interception for the goal as well. But other than that, I'm really sort of, clutching at straws to try and find some positives.
Disappointing day for Wolves, disgusting day for VAR. Luton 1, Wolves 1. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.